Hi guys, welcome. This is Melissa from Alive Refurbish. I have been refinishing pieces of furniture on a full-time basis for the past 3 years. And in this week's video, we're going to be updating a dresser with the help of a jigsaw and some wood bleach. So if you don't want to miss out on this transformation, keep watching. As I was minding my own thrifting business, I spotted this dresser. We brought it home. The top looked pretty rough and the rest just looks so disgusting, to be honest. But before we do anything else, we're gonna cut the base all around. There are some curvy details, and since I want to modernize this dresser, I just want straight lines. So here we're measuring one of the sides, then making the cuts with both the circular saw and the jigsaw. Now that our base is straight, we can remove the hardware, and I like to put hardware like this one that has several different pieces inside of a plastic bag to make sure that I don't lose it. My vision for this piece is to sand the drawers down to bare wood as well as the top, but we'll see what this piece lets us do. As always, I am taking this opportunity as I'm cleaning the piece to check and see if there are any other repairs I need to make. I am using some Dawn dish soap with water to wipe my piece down. As you can tell, even though I'm cleaning pretty good, some of this stuff is not coming out. But hey dude, hi, that's my teenager son. Now that my piece is clean, I can start sanding everything with 120 grit. As you can see, our cuts are not perfect and there are some imperfections that I cover with wood filler here, but I'm gonna be sanding my base to make sure that it's straight. Most of the piece sanded nicely with 120 grit, but unfortunately the top was a whole different story. We'll get to that in a minute. Normally when I'm sanding something to bare wood, I like to start sanding with 120 grit. About 80% of the time, that grit works just fine. But this is one of those exceptions. Even though I went down to an 80 grit sanding paper, the finish was so thick that I could not remove hardly any of it. So we're going to be using CITRISTRIP to remove the rest of the finish, and just make sure that you follow the instructions, how to use this product, and protect yourself. Today my son has a soccer tournament, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be applying the CITRISTRIP, cover the entire top with stretch wrap, and then I'll be back tomorrow to see how much I can remove. The chemical stripper removes some of the finish, but let me tell you, this finish is one of the toughest ones I have ever removed. I apply another round of CITRISTRIP, and after an hour I was like, whatever is gonna come off is gonna come off, and whatever is not is gonna have to be sanded. I recommend using a plastic spatula for this part since the chemical stripper softens the wood. If you use a metal one, you're running the risk of scratching the wood. And finally, wash the gunkiness that was left with a fine steel wool and mineral spirits. There were crusty parts that were not affected by the CITRISTRIP. I removed as much as I could with a spatula and then proceeded to clean the top with this TSP substitute. I'm gonna be letting my top dry and start sanding it tomorrow. This is after several hours of sanding. We went through a lot of sanding paper, but finally this top is looking exactly how we want it. Now I can start wiping my top, and as I'm wiping it, when you get wood wet, you'll get a pretty good idea how the wood is gonna look bare, which was my initial idea, but it's looking too orange. It looks like I'm gonna have to be bleaching it to make it look lighter. I just think a lighter wood is gonna contrast better with the dark color that I chose. I'm using this two-step wood bleach from Zinsser. I'm gonna be applying product A. Depending on the type of wood, you let it sit between 5 to 10 minutes. But while product A is still wet, you need to apply product B. This is super easy to use. Now that the wood is dry, I'm giving it a good scuff sanding with a fine sanding paper. Since I'm gonna be painting the rest of the piece, I wanna protect this top and I'm gonna be covering it with pre-tape painter's plastic. The rest of the dresser is gonna be painted in black, so I am using clear shellac to prime my piece. This will seal any of the wood tannings, preventing any bleed through. Bleed through are those wood tannings that filter through your new finish and it makes it look patchy. Even when you paint with a dark color, they will still show through, making your finish uneven. Now I'm scuffing the clear shellac to make sure that my paint has something to hang on to. After wiping all the dust I created, my piece will be ready for paint. I'm gonna be applying 2 coats of the color Anchor from Dixie Belle from their mineral paint line. Now that my paint is fully dry, I can remove the painter's plastic tape. And since any speckle that might have landed overnight on this black paint will be noticeable, I am using a tack cloth to wipe all of that off before I start top coating my piece. For top coat, I'm gonna be using High Performance Flat from General Finishes. Normally, I like to apply at least 3 coats of my top coat to make sure that my piece is fully protected. However, after I applied the second coat, I started noticing that this wood was not light enough. Some of that orangeness was still peeking through, and I just didn't like the contrast against that black. I decided to let this top coat dry for a couple hours, and I had 2 hours to think about how I was gonna bring that yellowness down. Let me show you in a little bit more detail what I'm talking about with this top. You see these patchy parts? This top has come a long way from where it was, so I am not surprised to see some unevenness. Now let's come up with a solution. Here's my solution. I'm gonna be mixing both White Magic and Tobacco Road. These water-based gel stains are from Dixie Belle. I don't have a ratio for you. I just sort of mixed it until I got the color that I wanted. By applying this mixture, I'm hoping to bring some of that orangeness on my wood down and also disguise some of those patchy areas. I'm applying a very light coat, and I do have a wet rag at hand just in case I apply too much and I need to wipe some of it off. This water-based gel stain dries super fast, so after waiting 2 hours for it to dry, I applied 2 more coats of the High Performance Top Coat from General Finishes. Here it is. It's reminding me of a tuxedo. I don't know why, but all that time we spent working on that top was well worth it. I really love the way that the water-based gel stain brought down the orangeness on the wood, and just loving the contrast against the black. I think it just looks classy, elegant, and modern. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this transformation. Please remember to subscribe and to turn on your notifications so that you don't miss out on what I do next. And don't forget that just like there is hope for these pieces of furniture, it doesn't matter how tough things get, there's always hope for you. Until next time.